We all know that the prices of real estate here in Florida cannot continue to rise, but when or will they come down? Homebuyers want to know if they should buy a home today or in the future so they don't end up on the wrong side of another disaster like we dealt with back in 2008. Today, I'll be making the case for and against a real estate market crash across the United States and right here in Central Florida. First, we need to know where this data is coming from. A recent Bankrate.com article cited the Case-Shiller Housing Index, which is, well, it's an economic indicator that measures the change in value of homes across the nation on a monthly basis. Some will say the Floridians don't really care about the national market, that we only care about the Florida market, and there's some validity to that. However, the fact of the matter is that what happens on a national level often impacts what happens right here in Central Florida as well. There is a minor variation of real estate market strength across the U.S. Prices have come down a bit out west in cities like San Francisco and Seattle, which we know tend to be overvalued anyways, and they also seem to have the most fluctuation. Home prices in the Rust Belt, which is pretty much from mid-Michigan, Indiana, down to Ohio, Pennsylvania, and even over into western New York, well, they continue to rise, and they've seen the highest gains in recent years. Here in Florida, we've been pretty stable in between these two extremes. Home prices are right about all-time highs across the country, which is one reason I have personal concern about whether real estate market crash is coming. They just keep rising, and I'm well aware of the concept that what goes up must come down. Most of us thought the real estate market would crash with the onset of the pandemic, and I was one of them back in 2020, but we couldn't really have been more wrong. Prices went up, and the frenzy just got more and more frantic. Then interest rates started rising again, and we saw the end of these rising prices. Well, or did we? Before I answer that question and get to the big turn here, if this is the information that matters to you, show your support by hitting the like and subscribe buttons and click that little notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post other videos just like this. As of this recording, the Fed has raised the interest rate 10 times in an effort to get inflation under control. Each time they do it, the cry of a coming crash gets louder and louder. Then in August, interest rates hit 7.36%, the highest rate in over 20 stinking years. All this makes it clear that the real estate market will crash, right? Well, yes and no. The real estate market is historically cyclical. It does go up and it goes down. There's usually a time when the market expands, it overheats, it recedes, and then it recovers. But could this real estate market be different? Is it complete nonsense to consider that a market crash is not coming? As us realtors here at the Shaver Group with Keller Williams Heritage Realty in Central Florida work with our buyers and sellers, we hear more and more concerns about a coming market crash. Plus, we've seen nothing but rising prices since 2008. So, if the real estate market is cyclical, and we haven't seen any significant downturn whatsoever since 2008, how can we believe that it's going just to continue? Well, I do wonder if we're overheating, and I am concerned about a coming real estate market crash. I help people sell real estate every stinking day, for crying out loud. Pick up the phone and give me a call if you'd like clarification on my thoughts on today's real estate market, or if you simply have real estate needs anywhere here in Florida. The difference with this real estate market could be inventory, or the amount of residential housing available to potential buyers. And it isn't like this thing will just change overnight either. A stable real estate market is expressed as there being 6 months of housing inventory available before all the homes are sold up. There's a current housing supply of around 3.1 months nationwide, and just less than 2 months supply here in Central Florida as I record this today. But what about other data in the real estate market? Well, here in Central Florida, it's pretty solid. Over the last 6 months or so, prices have been stable. They've been up just a tick. Interest rates are pretty stable as well, being pretty close to they were 6 months or so ago, despite all the doom and gloom that we've been seeing on the evening news. The only real change is that it's taking less time for sellers to get an acceptable contract on their homes, which is another reason to argue that we may not have a real estate crash in our future, or at least the near future. But maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself with all this optimism. So let's get a little henny penny here for a second and suppose that the Fed is not able to corral inflation and Americans completely lose their minds and buyers just stop buying. Well, this low inventory level should give us several months of a cushion before we start to feel the effects in the real estate market. Of course, we could be hit with some intercontinental ballistic missile or be drawn into some regional crisis, or maybe the upcoming elections will impact it, or who knows. I cannot spend my financial life not acting because of what could happen. Yes, there is plenty of cause for concern that a real estate market crash is on the horizon, but the foundational data, not based on emotion, is solid. Yes, I still struggle with that whole cyclical thing, but I can't spend my time worrying about some monster in a closet. I need to focus on the data, which simply does not point towards a real estate market crash anytime soon here in Central Florida, or anywhere else in America for that matter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.